But you know, Sadhguruji, if you think about what is happening in our country, even in what you call as a evolving society or civilization, you can see that, you know, there is still that huge focus on a male child. I mean, even our government is trying to incentivize families to have girl children, which is, okay, a very laudable thing, but then until it comes from within, that a girl child is as important and as joyous as a male child, you are not going to be able to get away from these skewed gender populations that we have in different parts of the country. It is creating even more serious problems in societies. And you also have a very poor representation of women in many, many parts of our ecosystem. We know that. You know, today if you look at politics, whether you look at boardrooms, whether you look at any, you know, aspect of our daily lives and the economy, there is a underrepresentation.
Here on the stage, there's equal representation.
Yes, I agree with that.
We must understand this. We have been an agricultural society for a very long time, and we still are. Living in Bangalore, you may think you are a tech society, but no, India is still an agricultural society. Over 65% are still involved in agricultural activities. In that society, it's very important to have a son, for a variety of reasons, for economic activities. Another thing is, we valued our women big time at one time, but in the last 10-15 generations, we have been so… our poverty has taken over the society so badly that if a boy comes, by the time he's 8, 10, they would put him to work. If a girl comes, you have to protect her and you have to get her married and all these issues. So it is more an economic bias in people's mind. They're afraid, if I have 2-3 girls, I'm finished. This is the kind of feeling that the poorer segments of the society have. And this entire dowry system, which was done for the well-being of the woman, so that when she gets married and goes, she gets a portion of the father's wealth. That's the idea of the dowry, which has taken on such an ugly form today. All these things turned against, but fundamentally, discriminations have come not because of gender basis, but because of economic basis, has gotten skewed into a gender process. Otherwise, particularly in this society, right from ancient times, if you look at it, say, I will just look back and see, in every other civilization in the world, let's say beyond 1500 or 2000 years beyond that, how many women's names are even remembered? This is a country where we have many women who are prominent women of those times, who still today, they're part of our lore, they're part of our culture. People are always talking about Sita, Draupadi, Parvati, this, that, because we still remember them as prominent. If you have to remember somebody after 5,000 years, they must have been significant, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, Sadhguruji, what I wanted to say was, I completely agree with you that if you look at the agrarian society, which actually constitutes a large part of our country, I can accept what you're saying. But my major concern is about our society. Why is it that we are still so biased? And you know, the question I want to ask you is, how do you basically change this societal attitude? I mean, what does your message say for the men in the audience? Shouldn't you think that the men also have to change their attitude, whether they are a husband, a father, a son, you know, or whatever? I mean, shouldn't they be sort of, you know, playing their role in bringing about gender equity?
I would rather talk to the ladies.
Okay. What would you say to the ladies?
Because one thing that women have to remember is, we must understand this, that society, a social process is need-based, because different people have different needs. That is how people come together and make a society, and somewhere we form rules how to fulfill our needs without encroaching upon somebody else. So, the uniqueness of being feminine should not be lost. In trying to be successful, don't become like men. because men are desperately trying to find meaning in their life. In many ways, well, later on disillusionments may happen, but in many ways, at least at the beginning stage of life, a woman brings meaning to a man's life. So very important for him. I'm saying, don't give up the fundamental strength of who you are in trying to succeed in another world. The playing field itself is changing and it will change further. As we already went through this, from a very physical world, we are moving into a cerebral world. As we move into the cerebral world, there is no need to fight for gender equality stuff. It will anyway happen, it'll find its own way. But we must understand this moving away from the physical world is only 50 years old. That's all it is. For 50 years, hasn't tremendous change happened? Has it not happened? It's happened. So, this will anyway happen. Only thing is right now, I feel, the only thing that we need to strictly enforce is, she should have the same opportunities in terms of education. Only education. Don't worry about the jobs and business and stuff, that will happen. Only in terms of access to knowledge and training, she has as much access as a man has. Another thing is, because she's physically vulnerable, every society has to have absolute laws that her physical safety is well taken care of. Rest, don't worry, it will happen.
Well said.